Kaiju Score, Steal from the Gods, issue number 2 from AfterShock. So I recently did a review for issue number 1. You can go check that out. But a quick recap. In this world, kaijus exist. In this world, there's also a bunch of heist groups, basically a bunch of factions that go and pull off heists and robberies and stuff. Our main character is Michelle. She's the leader of a heist group who have become very popular thanks to what's called the Florida job. And that was what happened in volume 1 of Kaiju Score. In issue number 1 of volume 2, she and her group are basically just doing a bunch of small-time bank heists and things like that. An old man confronts her and basically wants to hire her group out. He tells her that there's a bunch of Aztec gold inside the belly of a giant kaiju that the Russians are holding and keeping on ice. And he wants her and her group to go break into this Russian military base, go inside the kaiju, and steal the gold. She refuses at first, but then realizes that this rival faction run by a guy named Carlito has put a bounty on her, and she decides, okay, to take care of this problem, I'm going to need to take the old man up on his request. So she takes the job. And at first I was like, how does a group putting a bounty on your head make you want to do a heist that you didn't want to do before? And thankfully, this issue actually explains that right from the get-go, right from page 1. So yeah, she basically explains that Carlito has put a bounty on her head. However, she has the opportunity to put a counter bounty on his head. And in the way that this world works, if two rival factions have bounties on each other's heads, they have the opportunity to buy out the contract on their life if they're the one remaining alive. So, for example, Carlito puts a bounty on her head. She puts a bounty on Carlito's head. If Carlito dies, Michelle has the opportunity to buy out the contract that Carlito put on her and erase it. So to do that, though, she needs money, and she needs a lot of it. So that's why she accepted the old man's job. And I was like, okay, good. Like, I'm glad you explained that. I'm also glad that we're getting the world building on how this heist, world works and stuff like that. Like, I think it's pretty interesting. I'm actually kind of intrigued about how this whole thing is. It reminds me of like a heist version of John Wick, where rather than assassins, they're robbers. And they each have their own code of honor in a sense. They have their own rules, and you can't, and I like that. It's intriguing. But most of this issue is the planning, is the heist planning. So we see Michelle and her group, and she's talking to this guy named Dimitri. And Dimitri works for the old man, but he also works at the Russian base. So he's going to be their inside man. He's going to be the one that's going to be able to get them through certain checkpoints, but everything else is going to have to kind of be up to her and her group. And I'm not going to go over what the plan necessarily is. If you guys want like detailed stuff on that, you can go check out the comic yourself. I do recommend it. It's good. But pretty much there's Dimitri has requested a new biologist for his division. So what Michelle has to do is when they're coming on boats, she and her group have to take them out, take their place, and then a bus will take them inside the building. And the gold itself, and the thing is, like, we actually have like layouts. So we have like a map with its own like legend. And then as they're explaining everything, I was like, okay, this is actually pretty cool. So it almost feels like I'm being involved into this planning. But yeah, we have the giant kaiju who's frozen in ice. Well, part of his body is. And there's basically this tube going into his mouth, and it's pumping in anesthesia to keep it asleep. Meanwhile, it looks like they have a tunnel built either into its butthole or into its coochie that they're going inside to get the gold. So the gold's actually inside the kaiju. And the thing is that Michelle and her group, they have to go inside the kaiju to get the gold. They can't wait for the Russians to get the gold out, because as soon as the gold comes out, it's immediately being transported and it's going to be under heavy security. So they have to go inside the actual kaiju to get the gold. This is where like the big trouble comes from. Of course, Dimitri's saying, "Oh, you don't have to worry about it because the thing is kept on anesthesia. It's not going to wake up. I guarantee that." How much you want to bet that that's not going to be the case? I mean, come on. We all know, reading this, that the kaiju is going to wake up at some point, and that's when crap is going to hit the fan. But they also need like retinal scanners to get through certain checkpoints. However, they can't really keep hostages because the security is going to be very heavy. It's going to be really hard to bust in by force. It's heavily guarded, but there's retinal scans. How you get through that, I'm leaving that to you. I can't get you through those. You have to figure that out on your own. So then Michelle and her group are like, all right, we're going to have to figure out how the hell we're going to pull this off. Like we have the basic premise of what our heist entails, but we need to come up with a really good plan if we want to pull this one off. So we see her talking with the group and stuff. I will say her group is okay, except for this guy. I don't care for this guy with the long hair and the little ugly ass chin stash. He is the definition of a beta male. He's just annoying as hell. He's constantly screwing up. He has no confidence in himself whatsoever. I feel like he's really bringing the team down. And I bet you anything he's going to screw up during this heist and it's going to put all the group in danger. That's what it's pretty much heading towards. But we see Michelle. She contacts her hitman broker. And basically she asks for a loan for more money to try to put on Carlito, but she has put as much as she can. And she calls her hitman broker to figure out, okay, what's the contract status on the bounties right now? And he tells her, Carlito put basically another huge bounty on you. So now Michelle's like, all right, crap. I can't counter that. So now when it comes to the two bounties, Carlito's bounty on Michelle is a lot higher than Michelle's on Carlito. So basically, other hitmen are going to want to go after her first because her bounty pays out more. So she's like, all right, we really got to nail this heist so that we can get the money and overpower Carlito's bounty. She meets this other guy who she knows. I don't know what their history is. I'm assuming maybe he was in Volume 1. But she basically says, I need your help. I need you when it comes to planning. Like, I know you're retired. I know you don't do heists anymore, but you still are like intelligent when it comes to this. I just need you to help me plan the heist. You don't have to get involved other than that. So they go over the plan, and he tells her that there's this guy. His name is Ivan, and he's a sub-director at the base. He has access to the hub that you want to get into, and he's a creature of habit. He goes through daily rituals that he does at specific times, and every week he goes to the bank to make a deposit. So that's when you can nab him. So her and her group go into the bank. It looks like they go into the bank, they start robbing it, but what they really want is they want Ivan. So what they do is they hold a gun to Ivan, and the gun is actually not a gun, it's actually a retinal scanner, and they scan his eye. So now they have his retinal information that they can use. So now they don't need a hostage or whatever to be able to break in. They can just use the scan. And then, we have their escape. And there's a little bit more. I'm not going to spoil the rest. But, I will say that it ends with the cliffhanger that I was expecting. I kind of knew that things were going to happen. It's not necessarily a big twist that I wasn't, seeing coming. But there's Kaiju Score issue number 2. So far, I'll say it's been really good. I've enjoyed these 2 series. So I want to give a quick shout out and thanks to Trent Stewart. He was actually the one that recommended I check out this series, and I'm glad that he gave me that recommendation because I've been enjoying it so far. It's cool. I mean, I like heist stories. I love kaijus. So combining the two is like, all right, that sounds really cool. Like a heist that involves a kaiju. That's pretty interesting. So it's been good so far. The first volume was like 4 or 5 issues. I'm assuming this one's going to probably be the same. So the first one was basically the setup for the heist, somewhat of the setup. The second issue is the planning of the heist. Here's what we got to do. Here's what we, how we're going to have to pull this off. Here's what everyone needs to do. And the third one I'm going to assume is going to be the actual pulling off of the heist and then poop hitting the fan. And then the 4th issue is going to be how do we get out of this situation. I'm assuming that's going to be basically the story structure for this. But yeah, so far I've enjoyed it. It's been good. So there you go. Kaiju Score, Steal from the Gods, issue number 2. I recommend it. Go check it out. And at some point in time, I would like to check out Volume 1. Just so, I mean, if I'm enjoying Volume 2, I'm assuming Volume 1, if it's the same, is going to be pretty good. But for anyone who's like worried, like if we're anyone who wants to jump into Kaiju Score but hasn't read the first volume like me, there's no problems whatsoever. This isn't like Jenny Zero where you're going to be completely lost. You can jump into Volume 2 without having read Volume 1 and you will be fine. In fact, issue number 1 of Steal from the Gods actually does a really good job of kind of painting what happened. So yeah, you're not going to be lost. You can jump right into Volume 2 without having read Volume 1. So that's always good. I like when writers keep in mind that there are people who haven't read, previous stuff. So I love when writers do like a job of making sure that newbies are kind of caught up and they're not going to be completely lost. So yeah, Kaiju Score, Steal from the Gods, issue number 2, really good. Issue number 1 was really good too. I'm liking this series so far, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it's go. So yeah, I guess I recommend. Go check it out. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Tell me what you think. If you got any recommendations, let me know. But yeah, take care everyone. Hope to see you next time. Later. So what'd you guys think of that video? I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe, hit that bell for a notification, leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And if you didn't enjoy the video, thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next video is more to your liking. Feel free to check out the playlist that you guys see, and I hope to see you guys next time. Later.